And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that this helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, over the weekend, I brought y'all the latest with Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. And just moments ago, there was an update with the Fani Willis situation. She has two current situations that are, well, two were pending before the Georgia Supreme Court. One of them has been resolved, y'all, and Fani has just received, this is not clickbait, this is not exaggeration, I would say this is the biggest blow of her career. This is a devastatingly difficult, hard to swallow. Fani, it's over, she's done, and I'm going to tell you exactly what happened in this video. But first, let me tell you the two situations that she had before the Georgia Supreme Court. Both of these situations have to do with her inappropriate relationship with Nathan Wade, okay? And y'all, I'm going to link in a little bit later for more explanation. But right now, I just want to jump directly to the news. So both of these have to do with her getting chooky with Nathan Wade. One is she's running from a subpoena from the Georgia State Senate. They want to bring her in. They want to ask her questions about her relationship with Nathan Wade. She has been claiming prosecutorial immunity, okay? The other was that due to that relationship, she was removed from the Trump RICO trial. So she put a RICO on Trump and his co-defendants, 18 other people. She put a RICO on them. She wanted to see them in prison. She was removed from that case due to this relationship with Nathan Wade and the quote appearance of impropriety. Now, she appealed that decision from a lower court. The appeals court said, nope, you're off the case. She appealed it to the Georgia State Supreme Court. And today, the Georgia Supreme Court came down with its ruling. So let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of your money. I'm not going to make this a long one, y'all. Go to paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com or call 844-651-8334, 844-651-8334. If you have $50,000 to $100,000 or more in your retirement, protected from inflation, protected from monetary debasement, you're about to retire. Make sure your money's still there and it's still worth something by investing at least some of it in gold. Talk to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Go click the link now, get the free information, and protect your precious retirement. So here you can see the Georgia Supreme Court says the court today denied the petition for certiorari in these cases. What does that mean? It means that they're not going to hear the case. It means that the lower court, the appeals court ruling stands, and the appeals court ruling was Fani, you and your whole office are off of the Trump case. So Fani's done. It's over. There's nothing more she can do. She cannot pursue the Trump case at all, and her office cannot go against Trump for the RICO. So that does not mean that the Trump case itself is done, though. So this does not dismiss the case. This does not say that nobody can go after Trump for these RICO charges. This just says that Fani cannot continue to go after Trump for these RICO charges. So as far as Fani's concerned, y'all, she is 100% off the case and it's a wrap. I would say if I have to give some commentary on this, I would say this probably kills the Trump RICO in general, because at this point, Fani Willis is seen as a corrupt figure. Or let me not go that far. Fani Willis has had the appearance of impropriety in her prosecution of the Trump case. And considering Trump's going to be president for another 3 years, Fani Willis's own political career will be in doubt. There would be a huge logistical issue of transferring all of the data, etc., from one office to the next. I think this more or less means that the Trump RICO case in the state of Georgia is dead. But I'd like y'all to let me know, what do you think? One thing we do know is that Fani and her office will not be involved in any prosecution going forward if that prosecution were to continue. Now, I'm going to give you all the background details, y'all. I'm going to loop into our report on this so you can be totally filled in as to how we got here. And you can be totally filled in as to how Fani got herself into this situation. So let's hop right into it.
We begin with breaking news that upends the long-running Fulton County election interference case against President-elect Donald Trump. The Georgia Court of Appeals just released a case-changing ruling. Investigative reporter Zach Merchant with the 11 Alive political team has a copy of that ruling. Zach, break it down for us. What does it say?
And we should emphasize, we just got this ruling about 60, 70 minutes ago. This is very fresh. This is the big takeaway. In a 2-1 decision, the Georgia Court of Appeals ruled that Fulton DA Fani Willis and her entire office must be disqualified from their prosecution of Trump and his co-defendants over what they called an appearance of impropriety. The ruling is just the latest development in a long saga that began back in January when it was revealed that DA Willis shared a romantic relationship with former special prosecutor Nathan Wade. Willis eventually acknowledged the relationship but argued it never impacted their work on the case. Defense attorneys, however, alleged it created a conflict of interest and pushed for the removal of the DA and her office. And today, the Georgia Court of Appeals agreed. The court found that a romantic relationship Willis shared with former special prosecutor Nathan Wade created an appearance of impropriety that could only be cured by removing her from the case. Here is the key part of the court's decision. The court wrote, quote, "While we recognize that an appearance of impropriety is generally not enough to support disqualification, this is the rare case in which disqualification is mandated and no other remedy will suffice to restore public confidence in the integrity of these proceedings." The court went on to say that the disqualification of DA Willis means that her entire office must also be disqualified. We should note we did reach out to the Fulton DA's office for comment. So far, they have not responded.
All right, so this is the beginning of what will be a very extensive conversation in terms of what happens next and how we got to this point. Zach, thank you for breaking down that breaking news.
Interestingly enough, the New York Sun also has an article about Fani Willis. Fani Willis to defend absurd theory for why she is exempt from grilling about misconduct in Trump prosecution. The Georgia Supreme Court next month is going to hear a request from Fani, the District Attorney of Fulton County, that she be allowed to evade a subpoena from Georgia lawmakers hankering. Yo, this guy, who is this? A.R. Hoffman. Y'all, I'm a writer. A.R. Hoffman has an interesting style. The Georgia lawmakers are hankering to grill Fani Willis about her prosecution of President Trump and 18 others for election interference. So Fani Willis, the Georgia Senate has subpoenaed Fani Willis. She said, hey, I have immunity from these type of subpoenas. I don't want to go. Now, courts have ruled, this has gone to court. Courts have said you have to go. She has appealed this to the Supreme Court. She's trying to not go answer questions about her relationship with Nathan Wade in front of the Georgia Senate. She's lost that court. She's going to the Supreme Court and hoping the Supreme Court will say, Fani, you don't have to go testify. That's what's happening here. Ms. Willis, who has resisted summonses to testify from the Republican state salons, has also petitioned the Peach State's highest court to overturn her disqualification from the case against Trump. That disqualification came after the disclosure of a secret romantic affair with her hand-picked special prosecutor, Nathan Wade. So Fani has two cases going to the Supreme Court. One is, do I have to go and testify, as I just told y'all, do I have to go and testify before this Georgia State Senate hearing and talk about my dirty laundry with Nathan Wade? They just want to peer into my dirty laundry. Do I have to go? The other courts have ruled yes. She's hoping the Supreme Court will say no. This is the Supreme Court of Georgia. Her other Supreme Court of Georgia case, they removed me from the Trump case because of my dirty laundry, because of the appearance of impropriety. They removed me. She's hoping that the Supreme Court will put her back onto the case, okay? So she's removed from the case. She wants to get put back on. She's hoping the Supreme Court will do that. And in a separate Supreme Court matter, they want me to come testify about my dirty laundry. And I'm hoping the Supreme Court will say, no, I don't have to go testify. So basically, that's where Fani stands. The case would appear to turn on whether the subpoena power of Georgia's lawmakers survived the end of a legislative session. Ms. Willis contends that it does not, and that the power essentially expired when the session ended in January. The trial judge who initially heard this dispute, Shakura Ingram, soundly rejected that position. Judge Ingram rejected as absurd Ms. James's argument that the subpoena power disappears at session's end. Judge Ingram's ruling torched Ms. Willis's argument as one that, if adopted, could and would result in lost evidence, fading memories, and general inefficiency. She added that, quote, "This court cannot in good conscience facilitate such a result," end quote. Judge Ingram criticized Ms. Willis's position as one of a, quote, "myriad ways to tie up these disputes in court," quote. So you have the boyfriend on one, he trying to get money from AT&T. And then you have the girly friend, on the other hand, hoping that the Supreme Court will do a double for her. Get me out of the subpoena so I don't have to talk, and get me back on to the Trump case so I can keep going after Trump, y'all. So now we know that the Georgia Supreme Court has permanently removed Fani from the Trump RICO trial and her entire office. So that's a done deal, you know. So now the question is going to be, what about this subpoena? You know, I think, I was going to say that the subpoena, the Senate, the Georgia State Senate subpoena to Fani might be seen as moot at this point because she has been removed from the Trump case. I was going to say that at first, but no, it's not going to be moot because she's still a public servant. There's still questions of how she was using the public funds. There's still questions that are valid outside of the Trump case itself. There are questions that are valid to Fani about how she did her job as a public servant. So how do you think that the Supreme Court is going to rule on the subpoena case? Or do you think they'll just, so the current court ruling from the lower court is that Fani must go testify. So do you think that the Supreme Court is going to continue with that ruling as well? Or do you think that they'll maybe decline to hear that case as well? Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button, share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. To my people in retirement, go down, click that first link in the description, Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com. Find out how to protect your retirement from the upsies, downsies, roundsies, and the roundsies. And speak to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals at 844-651-8334. Thank y'all for watching. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.
Did you listen to any of the arguments?
I did hear the arguments this morning. It's ridiculous to me that you lied on Monday, and yet here we still are. And I did listen to that argument. I listened to the argument this morning where Adam Abadi, I thought, did an excellent job pointing out how dishonest you were with the court on Monday. And I'm actually surprised that the hearing continued. But since it did, here I am.
When the state was
It's highly offensive when someone lies on you, and it's highly offensive when they try to implicate that you slept with somebody the first day you met with them, and I take exception to it.
All right, well,
So your office objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
And well, no, look, I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
Mr. Wade visited you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth,
Judge.
And it is a lie. It is a lie.
Ms. Willis?
You see.
Mr. Sano, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes. Be back in 5. Before we proceed, though, I'll advise everyone here, this being a room mostly full of lawyers who have spent their lives in a courtroom. We all know what professionalism looks like, what decorum looks like, and devoting ourselves to the rule of law and proper advocacy. I would urge everyone to keep those principles in mind, starting with the fact that we won't talk over each other. And from there, we'll get through this.
Okay, so no, I want to be clear because my credibility is being evaluated here, right? We were friends. We hung out prior to November of 2021. In November of 2021, I hired him. I do not consider our relationship to have become romantic until early of 2022. Because I don't know a date and time, I'm saying sometime between February and April of 2022, and very early April of 2022, because I know that trip that I discussed with you was like the first week of 2022, that the relationship had become romantic. I hope that answered your question.
The romantic relationship ended before the indictment was returned, yes or no?
To a man, yes.
Well, to a man, yes. To you, no?
She's explained this, Mr. Sadow. She's explained this.
And did the forthcoming indictment have anything to do with that?
Ooh.
Or was it just a coincidence?
Let's go on and have the conversation.
I've just asked you whether or not it was a coincidence.
Had absolutely nothing to do with this. It's interesting that we're here about this money. Mr. Wade is used to women that, as he told me one time, the only thing a woman can do for him is make him a sandwich. We would have brutal arguments about the fact that I am your equal. I don't need anything from a man. A man is not a plan. A man is a companion. And so there was tension always in our relationship, which is why I would give him his money back. I don't need anybody to foot my bills. The only man who's ever foot my bills completely is my daddy.
Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
No.
I didn't ask you that. I was going to ask you that $4,000 is part of your, my words, cash hoard that you had collected over time.
Cash what?
Hoard, H-O-R-D-E.
Oh, I thought you said something different, sir.
No, I'm afraid I wouldn't say that. Any circumstances to you or in
All right,
court.
back on track.
The hoard, cash hoard debt.